CCI, Crash Course Instrumentation presents EP number 80, Sensor Bridge Circuits Intro. From abstract bridges to real sensors in episodes 78 and 79 of Crash Course Instrumentation. In the Electrical Fundamentals playlist, we treated bridge circuits as math puzzles made of resistors and ratios. In this episode, we are going to connect those abstract bridge circuits directly to the real world using sensors. We will see how thermistors, strain gauges, and other resistance-based sensors drop into a bridge so that tiny changes in temperature, force, or light show up as measurable voltage signals. We will also look at one of the coolest superpowers of sensor bridges, the ability to cancel out unwanted effects such as temperature drift by using a second dummy sensor inside the bridge. By the end of this episode, you will have a clear picture of why so many industrial instruments and transmitters hide a little bridge circuit inside their electronics. As always, this lesson is built on the open source Bridge Circuits model by Tony Coppald and the Mod-L project. And we are thankful for Tony and for the open source community making this material freely available. Step 1. Turning resistance into a voltage signal. A sensor bridge starts with the same basic diamond you have already seen. 4 resistors forming a loop, a direct current source across the top and bottom nodes, and a voltmeter watching the 2 side nodes. The only twist is that some of those resistors are now sensors, whose resistance changes with the physical world. Common resistance-based sensors include thermistors, whose resistance changes with temperature, strain gauges, whose resistance changes when stretched or compressed, photocells, whose resistance changes with light. When you wire one or more of these sensors into a bridge, the bridge output voltage becomes a direct representation of the physical quantity you care about. If the bridge is balanced at some normal condition, any change in the physical world unbalances the bridge, and the output voltage swings positive or negative. In other words, a sensor bridge is a translator. It turns temperature difference or strain difference into a voltage difference that electronic circuits can easily amplify and measure. Step 2. A simple thermistor bridge. Let us start with a very simple example from the model. 2 identical thermistors in a bridge. Picture 2 thermistors as the left and right bottom arms of the bridge, with 2 ordinary resistors forming the top arms. The voltmeter sits between the midpoints. Both thermistors have a positive temperature coefficient, which just means their resistance goes up as the temperature goes up. When both thermistors sit at exactly the same temperature, their resistances match. If the fixed resistors on top also match, the bridge ratios are equal, and the output voltage is essentially 0. The bridge is balanced. Now imagine one thermistor gets hotter than the other. Its resistance increases, the divider ratio on that side changes, and the midpoint voltages no longer match. The bridge output jumps away from 0. The polarity of that voltage tells you which thermistor is hotter, and the magnitude tells you how much hotter. So this thermistor bridge is not really a standalone thermometer. It is a comparator that tells you which sensor is warmer and by how much. That comparison style shows up everywhere in instrumentation. Instead of chasing absolute perfection, we often care about differences: hotter versus colder, higher versus lower, more strain versus less strain. Step 3. Strain gauge bridges and load cells. One of the most important real-world uses of sensor bridges is with strain gauges. A strain gauge is a very thin, folded wire pattern glued to a metal surface. When the metal stretches, the wire stretches along with it, increasing in length and decreasing in cross-sectional area. Both of those changes increase resistance. When the metal is compressed, the wire squishes slightly, lowering its resistance. By itself, a single strain gauge only changes resistance by a tiny amount when the metal flexes. You could put it in a simple voltage divider, but the signal would be small and easily buried in noise. Drop that strain gauge into a bridge, and things get more interesting. A common circuit uses the strain gauge in one arm of a bridge, with 3 fixed resistors setting up a balanced condition when there is no force on the specimen. As the specimen stretches under load, the strain gauge resistance climbs. That unbalances the bridge, and the output voltage moves upscale in a predictable direction. Compress the specimen, and the gauge resistance drops. The bridge output then moves downscale. Take this idea one step further, and you have a load cell. A load cell is a carefully machined piece of metal designed to flex in a very repeatable way when force is applied. Several strain gauges are glued to it and wired into a bridge, so the bridge output voltage becomes a very precise measurement of force or weight. In many industrial scales and tank weighing systems, the strain gauges inside a load cell are never seen by the operator. They just see a 4 to 20 milliamp signal or a digital readout, but that signal almost always begins life as a tiny bridge output voltage. Step 4. Canceling temperature with a dummy gauge. Strain gauges have a problem. Their resistance changes with strain, which is what we want, but it also changes with temperature, which we usually do not want. If we glued a single strain gauge to a steel beam and watched its resistance, any change in temperature would look like extra strain. Our instrument would not be able to tell the difference. The clever fix is to use a dummy strain gauge in the bridge. In the Mod L example, we put a second gauge into another arm of the bridge. This dummy gauge experiences the same temperature as the active gauge, but we mount it so that it does not feel the mechanical strain. When temperature changes, both gauges change resistance by the same amount. To the bridge, that looks like a common effect on 2 arms, and much of it cancels out in the differential output. When the specimen actually strains, only the active gauge changes resistance in the right direction. That difference between the 2 gauges shows up clearly in the bridge output. This is one of the huge advantages of bridge circuits for sensors. The bridge does not just amplify tiny changes. It can also reject unwanted common changes, such as temperature or supply drift. In real load cells, all 4 arms of the bridge are often active strain gauges, arranged so that some increase in resistance while others decrease when force is applied. That multiplies the useful signal and improves temperature compensation even further. Step 5. Other sensor bridge applications. While strain gauges are a classic example, any resistance-based sensor can live happily inside a bridge. Thermistor bridges show up inside temperature transmitters and electronic thermostats, where the bridge output feeds an amplifier and then a microcontroller or analog to digital converter. Photocell bridges can measure differences in light, such as the position of a web of material or the alignment of a moving part relative to a light source. Pressure sensors sometimes use strain gauges glued to a thin metal diaphragm, again wired in a bridge, so that tiny flexing of the diaphragm turns into a voltage proportional to pressure. The pattern is always the same. The bridge is powered by a stable direct current source called the excitation voltage. The sensors and fixed resistors are arranged so the bridge is balanced at some normal condition. Any change in the measured quantity unbalances the bridge. The differential output voltage becomes the input for an amplifier or an analog to digital converter. In modern instruments, That output often goes into an instrumentation amplifier chip designed specifically to handle very small differential voltages while rejecting large common mode noise. You may not see the bridge on a printed circuit board at first glance, but if you trace the sensor wires and the amplifier inputs, there is usually a little diamond-shaped network hiding there. Wrap up. Why sensor bridges matter. A sensor bridge is just a regular bridge circuit where one or more resistors are actually sensors whose resistance changes with temperature, strain, light, or pressure. When the sensors match and the bridge is balanced, the output voltage is near zero. Any difference in sensor values unbalances the bridge and generates a measurable voltage. Thermistor bridges compare temperature between two locations and are especially good at measuring differences. Strain gauge bridges and load cells use the bridge to turn microscopic stretching or compression of metal into an accurate electrical signal. Dummy gauges and multi-gauge bridges help cancel out unwanted effects such as temperature drift. So the output really represents the quantity of interest. Inside many industrial instruments and transmitters, the signal chain begins with a small bridge output voltage, feeding an amplifier, and then a digital or analog output. Once again, a big thank you to Tony Kupalt and the open source community for the bridge circuits model and the rest of the Mod EL project that this episode is based on. This has been episode 80 in the Electrical Fundamentals playlist on the Crash Course Instrumentation channel. If this helped you see how bridge circuits connect to real-world sensors, please like, subscribe, and share it with a classmate, maid, coworker, or apprentice. In the next episode, we will look at another side of bridges, how power bridge circuits move energy around in power supplies and motor controls, still using that same diamond pattern of components.